Hi there and welcome to this Easter egg leftovers edition of Indo Politics. Now, we weren't planning on coming to you this week because it was supposed to be quiet, but in fact things have escalated quite dramatically on the political scene this week.
What is not acceptable is people declaring that we will turn Cónal Street into a car park. That's not acceptable.
The decision that needs to be made is for Micheál Martin and Simon Harris to lift the phone. Why on earth is the government escalating this further?
So I'm joined by Cónal Thomas, political correspondent with the Irish Independent and Sunday Independent, to talk through fairly dramatic and fast-moving events. Cónal, we have a Mexican standoff. Who's going to blink first or shoot first?
Well, where the army? That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
About 24 hours ago, this would have been kicked off, I suppose, from the political side at about 9:30 a.m. yesterday, with Jack Chambers first coming out of the trap saying, condemning these protests, and as...
By the way, we're talking about the fuel price protest. Where groups have taken to the streets, the roads, the high roads and the by roads and the high streets of Ireland to basically blockade, to raise awareness and demonstrate about the high fuel price caused by the war in the Middle East, and wanting reductions in diesel prices.
Yeah, effectively. And then what emerged over the previous evening and yesterday morning was these blockades at fuel depots. Jack Chambers, Public Expenditure Minister, coming out condemning it. I was at the press conference and that finished, and within 5 minutes we were told Taoiseach Taoiseach and Sheahan were going to come out. So kind of get a sense of the scale of this. The government immediately came out, and it's been this cavalcade of ministers condemning these protests ever since then. What the government are now trying to do, we'll talk about the army and the law enforcement aspect maybe in a minute. What the government has been trying to do for the last 24 or more hours now, 30 hours, I think, is delegitimise these protests. Because they've said, we'll only engage with the official national representative bodies. They did that yesterday with the Irish Road Haulage Association, and they will always point to, well, this is a disparate group of protesters. We can't just meet with anyone. And if they were to do that, they'd be setting a precedent. Because not only would they be backing down on their original position 24 hours ago, whereas, we're not going to engage with this, and the line, I'm effectively hearing is akin to, we don't negotiate with terrorists, right? And if they were to back down on that, what would it mean for future protesters who may just rock up in any vehicle to the government buildings or block any main street?
So their point is, from government, we talk to recognised bodies who are democratically elected, who have a constitution, a rule book, committees. They can be grassroots organisations, but you have an actual structure. This is just a bunch of people who have got together on social media. We don't quite know who the leadership are, and the leadership themselves say they don't necessarily speak for other protests. So that's the problem that they have. Henry Kissinger used to say it, when I want to call Europe, who do I call? So the problem here is that if you want to call these protesters, some names are being put forward as the leaders, but it's not quite clear, are they really the leaders? Do they speak for everybody?
No, and the problem we've seen, broadcasters doing 20-minute segments talking to some of these spokespeople, you'd call them, they've said, well, I'm a spokesperson, but I can't control what the lad down the road...
Yeah, so they're actually saying they're spokespersons for certain aspects of it, but they don't have control over it. So the actual organisational structure just isn't there. If you want to talk to farmers, the biggest farmer representative body is the IFA. They have an elected president. That's Francie Gorman. You go, the minister sits down with him. That's how it works. Government are saying we're not breaking away from that model by talking to any ad hoc group that is set up.
Exactly.
Literally on the side of the road.
I think there is an element of this. There's legitimate pain people are feeling, and many legitimate concerns on the part of the protesters, and maybe some of those people blockading oil refineries, etc. There's an element here where I think they're trying to delegitimise those official bodies to get the government to the table. But the government are not backing down on this.
The element which appears to have been a tipping point was whatever about blocking city centre streets, which is kind of normal in a democracy, and we often have protests
all the time,
blocking up either O'Connell Street or Kildare Street. They tend to be the two most blocked streets in the country. This blocking of the fuel depots, there seems to be this kind of line where the Taoiseach and the government are saying, hang on, there's protests And now there is what the Taoiseach called national sabotage, which the independent leaders, Minister Sean Kenny, decided is holding the country to ransom. So it's where do you draw that line between what's a protest and what's actually disrupting the country?
I think the public mood has shifted slightly on this. I think initially people would have been there was a large cohort of the public broadly supportive of this. That narrative began to change a little bit yesterday when we saw these oil refineries and we saw more concerns coming through about animal welfare, feed, etc. And what the government are trying to do is say delegitimise these protests and kind of let the economic impact play out itself. Let the businesses come out in public and let the business representative bodies come out and say in public, say we might have to close in 24 hours if this blockade doesn't end. Government now take a stand back and let this take its course. Now, in saying that, we've heard today that the Army reports on the way down to Foynes to unblock the fuel depot there. We haven't really seen the widespread Army intervention maybe we were expecting. This seems to still be very much a Garda operational matter. The question is how much oxygen are these blockades going to be given if the government aren't willing to give them any more?
The government seems to be doing the hold me back now, I'm coming to get you any minute now, trying to ratchet up the pressure on these groups to remove the product, particularly from the fuel depots and from the oil refinery, to basically say, listen, if ye don't stand down, the Army and the Guards are going to remove ye.
Yeah.
But there comes a point as well where the lads say, well, fine, go ahead, we're staying put.
We've already heard that today. I mean, we've seen a little bit of a movement or, ground being seeded down in Cork where they say, OK, the protesters now will let, some trucks transporting essential fuel in and out, neighbourhood residential access, etc., etc. The question for the government and the worry for the government at this moment, and it is quite a febrile situation, I suppose you call it, is if this escalates into potential violence, right?
Then it becomes then it becomes a dramatic moment where basically you are standing in the forces of the state to remove people who are saying we are protesters.
And we are legitimate protesters. But where does the line draw, as you say, on that kind of critical infrastructure? If you're blocking people, if people are missing hospital appointments, if people are missing visiting ill relatives, if people can't get fuel, and this is all coming together. Yeah,
we're seeing tensions at Garage Forecourts now today, where we've already had reports that some petrol stations that don't have big supplies are running out. We're seeing other reports of queues forming at petrol stations as well. So it doesn't really take much for this to ratchet up into quite a dramatic. Like, you can look at it on one hand and go, it's a quiet week after Easter. A rake of people are away on holidays. People are off because the kids are off school. So look, sure, this is just playing out. It's damaging people who can't get to work and appointments and stuff like that, but it's not as bad as it could be. It doesn't take a whole lot for it to go to another level, either to descend into violence, because the Army and the Gardaí have to move in to physically remove these blockades. You can also see kind of similar to having a run on the banks, you can see a run on the petrol stations, and then everything just gets out of hand.
It does, but what you're seeing from, I think we should touch a little bit on the opposition sort of reaction to this.
Yeah, so you've nearly every minister has been out. I mean, you had one minister, if that's what we'll call him, out seemed to be kind of not criticising and not condemning the protests. Does it help to have the junior minister for forestry, Michael Healy-Rae, out basically not towing the government line?
No, but the government it's my understanding that a number of people in government are not happy with Michael Healy-Rae, because he would have come out yesterday on RT Radio first thing, effectively kind of, let's face it, legitimising the protests and legitimising what was going on, and then probably going too far and saying that other measures around diesel are on the cards here. That's not a decision.
They'll have to be given some more.
That's not a decision for him. That is not a decision for him, and that's already caused tensions. Bear in mind, Michael Healy-Rae's been outspoken on a number of things around whether it's short-term lets or whether it's Mercosur.
Yeah, but in this case, I mean, that's a guy who can't make his mind up whether he's in government or opposition. In this case, he was a minister basically encouraging or at least facilitating these protests and saying, oh yeah, something will be done as a result of them.
That's why you had to have the Public Expenditure Minister, Taoiseach Taoiseach, Sheahan Kenny, all come out with 2 hours after he made his comments to completely tamp it down.
Yeah.
And you even Michael Lowry today saying, for instance, let de-escalate this now. Not that there's any suggestion Michael Lowry would say otherwise, but he's seen as the sort of spiritual leader in many ways of that regional independent group, even though he's not a minister.
So the message discipline has returned in that regard. What about the opposition? So where are they at? Because we've had, on the first day, Peadar Tóibín was kind of down at one of the protests, and then the following day was kind of a bit watery on whether they should just pull back. We've had Independent Ireland TDs and councillors attending these protests as well. Where are Sinn Féin at? Are they on the barricades?
So Sinn Féin would have been pretty quiet on this for the last 24 hours up until the last few hours, when Mary Lou McDonald came out at a policy launch around neutrality and effectively accused the government of escalating this, right? And said what I would consider to be quite a bootstrapping claim, that had they just listened to our solutions 3 or 4 weeks ago around, say, for instance, not moving forward the carbon tax and not doing what they call half measures, this would have all been avoided. And what they're saying now is that the government need to pick up the phone to these protesters.
Right, so are Sinn Féin supporting the protesters who are blocking fuel depots and the country's only oil refinery?
Mary Lou McDonald's been pretty, I would say, prevaricating on this today, because she's been asked, what do you say to people blocking essential services? And says the government know who these people are, they've been on social media, and you need to pick the phone. And by threatening, she believes, to bring in the army, that the government are the ones who have escalated this, rather than the people who've moved to block oil refineries.
So the main opposition parties are saying, never mind your nationally representative bodies, you should just talk to the people who are out there protesting.
But that is in effect, there's no other way of reading it. That is effectively delegitimising the official bodies, like the IFA and the Irish.
It's undercutting.
Certainly undermining them, and we know we would have had the history of the Sinn Féin history now recently with the IFA as well. So this all feeds into it. I can just read you a little bit as well. Miss McDonald was asked, or she did not directly answer when asked if she supports the protest blocking main roads at fuel depots. She said, I support measures to make it possible for businesses to survive, for people to function, for farmers, for hauliers, for contractors. I do not support government action that aggravates and escalates a very, very difficult situation. Now, who escalated this?
Yeah, well, that I suppose that's what's being debated. Okay, so we're going to watch and see how this situation is handled. Micheál Martin, you'd have to say he's been fairly strong in terms of his language and his approach to this.
Yeah, he came.
Whether you agree or disagree with him, you can't accuse him of not, taking a stand here.
No, he was strong yesterday at the press conference when he had some good sound bites around not turning. You can't just turn O'Connell Street into a car park, and there will be penalties, and very much this law and order kind of front and centre of things. Fine Gael similar, that's not surprising from them, and Sean Canny, as you say. I thought Micheál Martin this morning on RT was a little bit, I don't know whether it's because the man is exhausted, but he sounded a little bit more calm about things, or maybe a little not quite as forceful, because he was kind of trying to make the point that measures have been brought to the government, additional measures by different sectors, and we're now looking at them. But nothing has been agreed yet.
Okay, so government are trying to say, listen, we are listening, we are keeping the situation under review, and we're talking to legitimate, fully recognised, nationally representative bodies in the various sectors. They're coming to us with their proposals, and we're considering them.
Yeah, but I think there's a risk in,
and ultimately they're hoping this just peters out.
That's it. So you're right, they're hoping this peters out, but I think there's two risks for the government that we've yet to see potentially play out. One is the army, as we've touched on, the escalation, whether that turns to violence, and where does the narrative go then? And then secondly, even if some agreement is reached with those legitimate representative bodies, the hope would be within government that that's fed down to protesters and blockades to bring the temperature down and move this on. There does now seem to be a gap between a number of different sections of these protesters and these legitimate association bodies, right? So the question is, if agreements reach, would those bodies be able to feed it down sufficiently to a sufficient number of people that things would de-escalate and then
they'll be able to bring people with,
or will some remain?
Yeah, because the gap between what the protesters are looking for and where the situation is at, it isn't going to be breached regardless of what extra package the government comes forward. So
No, it's not going to just suddenly cut one of the major taxes.
tricky one. So ultimately, Micheál Martin is hoping the weekend is coming, and sure maybe this just drifts away as quickly as it emerged.
Yeah, and I think the threat of the army was something they'd hope would have maybe, some people would have moved on. But I mean, I was walking through Cónal Street this morning now. Obviously, you've been walking through it the last few days. It was packed, very empty this morning, but blockaded either end.
Yeah.
So there's an organisational structure there that's keeping this blockaded. But obviously, the hope of the government is attrition and wear them down as well. These people may need to get back to work or may need to get back to their families.
And it's a tricky one to explain to the public as well why you're not talking to these people, because that's important. From a government perspective, and social partnership and engagement with regular bodies on a normal basis, it's more difficult to explain that to Joe public about we're talking to these people here, but we're not talking to them.
It is, but I think the government will hammer home that point, and it is a legitimate argument that if you were to do that, what does it mean in another month's time when another group or sector of society want to try and do something different, if you yield to individuals who are not officially represented? And even we've had the spokespeople for the blockades, for the protesters, in a bit of double speak going, I'm a spokesperson for them, but I can't control what they do. That's the problem.
Yeah, so look, we'll see how it plays out over the course of the weekend. That's where we're going to leave it for this episode of Indo Politics. My thanks to Cónal Thomas for joining me, and thanks to you for watching. As always, you can find all the latest episodes of Indo Politics on the Irish Independence YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back with a regular episode next week, unless something else dramatic happens over the course of the next 72 hours. See you soon.